Blog Talk Radio.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I'm Ted Odorico, and alongside, of course, every week is an LPGA Professional Legends Tour player, Cindy Miller. Good morning.
Good morning, Ted. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and of course, we are the host of the Women of Golf Show, and we're glad to bring this another episode here, May 17th of 2016. We're glad to bring you another Tuesday morning episode. We got a great show, Cindy, this morning. We've got two great guests coming up first. A first-time winner on the Symetra Tour, Erica Popson, is going to be joining us here in a few moments. And a little bit later on, LPGA professional Susan Bond is going to be joining us in the second half of the program. But, Cindy, let me just very quickly remind everybody, of course, we are live Tuesday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on blogtalkradio.com network. Just go to blogtalkradio.com, up in the search key, type Women of Golf, and you will be able to get us here live on Tuesday mornings. For some reason, if you can't join us live, not to worry. Just go to that link and scroll down to the on-demand section, and all of the previously aired shows are, of course, auto-recorded, so you can listen to them at your convenience. We're also available at iTunes, so go to itunes.com, and under the podcast section, type in also Women of Golf, and that will take you to the page there at iTunes for those of you that like searching there. As I said, if you're interested in coming on the show, you can reach out to Cindy at CindyMillerGolf.com, or you can also contact me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you during the live broadcast if you're available. You're always welcome to call into the show, and the number, of course, is 347-45855. But for those of you who are, and as I said, a great guest this morning to start, Erica Popson. She's the winner of the 2016 Symetra Classic, which was just held this past weekend. The ink is barely dry on that win, and that was held at the Raintree Country Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. And interesting backstory on her, Cindy, and we'll get to that when she comes on. But this is her first win, as I mentioned, and very excited to have her join us this morning, finish off her first win. And just let me tell you a little bit more about her as well. She started playing golf very early at the age of 8. And some of the other things that she enjoys doing, of course, as any young lady would, she enjoys hanging out with some of her friends. And she also enjoys going to theme parks is a big thing for her as well. Some of her amateur highlights, she's a first-team All-American, two-time first-team SEC, All-Regional team in 2010, 11, and 13, and 8 first-place finishes while playing collegiate golf. And I think she was at the University of Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. 19 top 10 finishes while playing at her college. And she was the 2012 USA Curtis Cup team member as well. So lots of good things to back her up as an amateur as she makes her way towards the LPGA Tour. And as I said, always interesting, some of these young ladies that come on the show, just some of the backstories about them and that. And I think for most part, they all went to college, all had very successful collegiate careers to start them off, and now they're sort of earning their chops, if you will, as they get ready for the LPGA Tour.
Absolutely.
And, Cindy, so let me ask you, did you get a chance to watch any of the golf on the weekend? Not necessarily, obviously this wasn't televised, but any of were the ladies playing this weekend?
I did not watch, the ladies were not playing. Well, no, they were. Yeah, Morgan Purcell came in tied for second, I think. I was watching Morgan. But I watched the players, the end of the players, and I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was very interesting that Jason Day did not smile until he hit the green on 18.
Yeah.
He was staying in the pursuit of the players.
Yeah, some very interesting. I watched on and off. I watched it. I had some things I was doing this weekend, but I did sort of channel flip, if you will, while I was doing that, and some very interesting play. And I'll tell you, that's a tough course. Lots of areas there to get yourself in some trouble. So,
opportunities to mess up.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Yeah,
you know what,
gotta get rid of that negative thinking. Did
you see the greens on
yes.
Saturday? 15 on a stimp meter. That's a little amazing, right?
Yeah, incredible. That's fast. And it almost seems like they're trying with the players, that they're trying to almost outdo the U.S. Open, because U.S. Open, of course, as most of you know, that follow, and I'm referring to more so the men's than the ladies, certainly the ladies as well, but they always have very, very slick, very difficult greens at the U.S. Open. But I'll tell you, the players, the last few years, it's almost like they're trying to outdo one another. I think, the U.S. Open, they always try to make it very, very difficult for the players because it is a major championship. But I think that the players is equally as difficult in many ways. Cindy, let's bring Erica on. I see that she's waiting in the wings. Let's bring her off. I've already done an introduction, so let me just hit the button here, and we'll welcome Erica Popson, the winner of this past weekend Symetra Tour Classic, and we'll welcome her to the show. Good morning, Erica. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing well. Congratulations. Welcome to the show, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, we're glad that you could join us. Erica, I wanted to start things off with kind of an interesting sort of a side note, if you will, and I'm very curious about this because you obviously, as I mentioned, you had a very very good collegiate career, and University of Tennessee, was that correct?
Yes, I was a lady volunteer.
Yep, and so you had a very interesting career there as well, but I wanted to read something, a very short paragraph that was put out by the Symetra Tour News with respect to your win. This was on Sunday, of course, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it starts off this way. Erica Popson, Davenport, Florida, won 8 times in college at Tennessee, then qualified for the LPGA through qualifying tournament, and then, as they put it, sort of crashed and burned. And then actually in November 2015, you actually nearly gave up the sport, which was kind of interesting, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that here in a second. And then on Sunday, of course, at Raintree Country Club, you carded a 270 to win the Symetra Classic, which gave you a total of 8 under, total score of 208. And this was, of course, your first career Symetra Tour victory. But I wanted to go back to that little caption in there. You actually considered giving up golf. What was the reason behind that?
Well, just gotten to the point where I was so frustrated. My first year on the LPGA didn't really as planned, and I lost my card. And then my first year on the Symetra Tour the year following did not go as planned either. I played pretty terrible that year too, and I was running low on money, and my parents couldn't afford to support me financially to play professional golf. Didn't know what options I had, and my game wasn't good, and it'd be hard to beg for money from people when you don't have any show. So it was just a financial decision, and just my heart wasn't quite in it just because it was so frustrating. I felt like I just kept getting worse and worse, and I didn't know what direction. I felt like I was very lost as a person and a player. I didn't know what I wanted anymore. So I just thought hard, and I said I've put too much effort into the game. I loved the game for so long, just to give it up because I played bad. So I'm going to try one more thing, and went out and saw a good friend, Pappas, who played on the PGA for a while, to see if he could help put me in a direction. So that was kind of your... Go ahead, Cindy.
I'm sorry, Erica. It's Cindy Miller. Who did you say you went to visit?
Dean Pappas.
Cool.
PGA for a little while.
Yeah. So what changed everything around? What your perspective? I mean, I played on the tour for a couple of years, and my husband played on the PGA Tour for 15 and played in the Masters 5 times. And we were both All-Americans. He went to Georgia. So we know the deal, and we have a son who tried to play on tour, and we have a daughter who's a producer at the Golf Channel. So I hear you. I feel you. I've been there. What turned it around?
I would give me some hope on the physical side. And then I went down to Florida to spend the winter with my parents and started with another guy, Roger Masterson, at the same time. They kind of teach very similar. And he basically said, Erica, you play golf. You're not a golfer. Because I've always defined my personal, I would say, how people perceive me and just I let it relate to the scores I shoot way too much sometimes. So I just kind of took it out of context and pulled myself away from the game, and I said, that's just something I do. That's not who I am. So yeah. I just started to view it in a different light and just changed my thoughts. I've always been a huge goal-oriented person, and I kind of gave that up. I said I'm going to have no expectations for this year. I'm just going to do the best I can and take care of first things first, see where that brings me, and if it brings me success and it brings me a future, then I'll keep going with it. And if it doesn't, then, this isn't what I meant. I'll just try something else. But just taking it in a different light, kind of pressure off myself and open myself up to let my talent come out.
Good for you.
Do you think, Erica, let me ask you, this is Ted, let me ask you a question just with respect to what you were just talking about. Do you think by taking that pressure off yourself makes it a little bit easier? Do you think too many of the girls that come out on, whether it be the Symetra or the LPGA Tour, put too much pressure on themselves, especially very early in their careers, to get that first win, to get those wins under their belt, so to speak, to the point that it's to their own detriment a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what happened to me. I played well in college. I was a good junior player. I played on the 2012 Curtis Cup team. I had accomplished all these great things, and then I expected to accomplish great things as a professional right away. And when it didn't happen right away, then I got frustrated, and I think I got frustrated too early on in my career because of all the pressure that I put on myself. So taking it from a new angle and learning to separate the golf from the person that I am, I think has really helped me move forward and helped me tee it up in tournaments and not be so intense. Because even Dean, when I went to, he said, even from a little, it's so intense on a golf course.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that?
Dean was telling me that even from when I was a little golf course, it was just intense. Play great, and he said to just act and fun and do where it takes.
We're losing you.
Yeah, we're having a difficult time, Erica, hearing that. For some reason, it's breaking up. I'm not sure if you're on a bad connection or not. We'll try this. Let me ask you, Erica, if you can still hear us okay. You obviously came in with a new game plan in this for this year. Do you think the win that you had this weekend, does that sort of reconfirm your decision that sticking it out was a good one? I think we might have lost her.
Yeah.
Yep, we did. We'll wait for her to reconnect. I'm not sure. It sounds like she might be calling in off of Skype or something, and that could be part of the problem. But we'll let her call back in here. But that raises an interesting question, Cindy, with a lot of the players. I think, and obviously she agreed, I think that a lot of these young players coming in that have a very successful, college start have this high expectation of themselves. They're sort of coming in on a high, and they're very, feeling very good about their game. And then they get on the tour, and sort of reality sets in. Did you sort of have that experience as well when you first came out?
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? We have a saying in our household, I'm not what I shoot. Because when you play bad, you feel like you're an 85, or whatever the score might be. And I think that's exactly what she's saying is, she as a person is not what she shoots. in her golf
Right.
game. She plays the game. That does not define who she is. And that's a really big deal because a lot of these kids have so much pressure on them to perform that, you know, when they hit a roadblock, they start to think, well, maybe I suck and maybe I'm not supposed to do this. And the doubt creeps in and the frustrations and the apprehension, and then you can't have fun, and then, you know, it's like a downward spiral for sure. And thank God for her to be able to realize that, to go get some help from people that have been there.
Right.
And I think that's so important because you start to doubt what you're doing. And needless to say, you know, it's evidence that she's got a lot of talent and a lot of potential, and this could totally change her whole career around.
Right, exactly. Cindy, Erica's back on. Erica, welcome back. We had a little bit of a bad connection there. We hope you can hear us okay now. Can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I can. Hopefully you can hear me better.
Yeah, that's perfect. Just very quickly, just the last little bit that we were talking about, can you just sort of repeat that because we lost the whole bit?
Oh, I was saying that when I went to work with Dean, the first thing he kind of told me was ever since I was a little kid, I've always been very intense on the golf course and just very uptight that I was going to make a mistake and I wasn't going to play the way I wanted to. So he just made me realize that and gave me a challenge to go out and play every day, just to play as good as I can and take every hole one hole at a time and just try and make birdie on every hole and free myself up and have fun because it is a game and you're supposed to have fun playing a game.
Yeah, and Cindy and I were just talking before you came back on. I don't know if you heard any of it or not, but you know, I was saying that I think a lot of the young players coming up now on tour, especially if they have a successful collegiate career, sort of come riding this high wave, if you will, that you know they're going to come out there and you know everything is just going to fall into place. And as you and as many of the young players coming up understand that, you know, now you're coming out in a whole. It's like going sort of from middle school to high school to college. There's a transition period that you have to adjust, and I think it's the same thing for a lot of these young players coming up on the tour. It's not going to be in every case this sort of grandiose welcome. It's going to be a challenge, and some are fortunate to have early success, and others it takes a little bit longer. But is that kind of the sense that you're coming away with now, based on what you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to put that in perspective, though, just because you see the Lydia Ko's and the Brooke Hendersons. And, I mean, you just see so many young players in women's golf that have so much success early or that skip college. And you feel like you're behind if you go to college sometimes. You feel like you're graduating college and you're behind 4 years, so you need to make something happen quick. And it's just the opposite. I mean, you grow and learn so much in college, and college golf is a great experience. So I think it's easy to skip that and go to the mindset that I'm behind. I need to make that something happen quickly, rather than say, hey, I've experienced all this great stuff and I just need to take it and keep working on it.
Yeah, and a question I was asking before we lost you was, does this win now sort of reconfirm your decision to stick it out as being a good one?
Absolutely. I'm all year I felt like I've been close to playing good golf, and I knew it was in there. I mean, I feel like I've known it's been in there in my heart the whole time. I just wasn't seeing the results, so it's hard to keep telling people I know I'm a good golfer. But yeah, but this one definitely feels really good, more because of what I have been through, and it just puts it all into perspective.
Cindy, you know, you've mentioned many times on the show when we've talked to some of the different players about how important, you know, some of these, and I hate to use the word failures, but some of these stumbles, if you will, become very valuable learning lessons. And actually she's going to grow as a player as a result of some of her earlier difficulties on tour, correct? Yeah,
and the thing that I hear is that I'm very proud of you for. And how old are you, by the way?
I just turned 25 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so you're still a baby. I mean, you have a whole life in front of you, and everyone's path is different. You know, and you need to remember that, and that you know you have the talent and the skills. And, you know, again, if the mission is for you to be an LPGA superstar, that's great. You know, if the mission is for you to just be in the middle of the pack and always make a living, good for you, whatever it is. But as long as you realize, which you are now, that, our household, we have a saying, I'm not what I shoot. And, your score has nothing to do with who you are as a person. And, I'm kudos to you for learning the lesson and becoming aware of it, because it's only going to free you up to be able to be the best you that you can be.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and
I got to tell you that my husband was like, he played on the Walker Cup team twice, and an Eisenhower Cup, which used to be the World Cup team, and he played in the Masters 3 times as an amateur, and he was, kowtowed to be amazing, and he went out on tour, and he didn't play very well. And he's a very shy person who doesn't like to talk to people much. He would go hit balls on the driving range over by himself, and he started to drink for liquid courage. And once he played the tour for 15 years, and when he quit, we started teaching at a driving range. So we went from having dinner at Bob Hope's house to teaching golf at a public driving range, and nobody knew who he was nor cared. And he ended up trying to commit suicide. So it's really important that you are very aware of, I'm not what I shoot. And as a person, just be the best you that you can be. And this is just a game that you play. And, 20 years from now, hopefully you're playing on the Legends Tour, something that, we started. And, hopefully it's successful at that point and you can play golf for a long, long time. But if the Legends Tour isn't around, by the time you're 55, you got to be doing something else. So life is life. And, again, you're not what you shoot.
Absolutely.
And, Erica, the other thing, too, is you're going to look back on your time in college. You raised an interesting scenario about, what if I didn't go through college like some of the others and had have just sort of jumped out there right away. You're going to be grateful that you stuck it out through college, irrespective of what happens in your golfing career, because the lessons that you learn through college are going to be valuable that you'll be able to take for the rest of your life. And the tour is just one road, one path, that, in your journey of life that, as Cindy said, that you're going to take. And, 20, 30 years from now, you might be doing something completely different that you're equally as passionate about. So just enjoy it. As you said, have fun out there, enjoy it. And, don't put the pressure on yourself to always, have to win. Play the best that you can play, and if it's your turn to win, as it was this weekend, then that's going to happen. And I think that you're going to enjoy your journey on tour much more than putting that pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, college was a great experience, and I got a degree from it, and it was just, I wouldn't trade it for anything, that's for sure.
Exactly. All right, so
what's the best part of your game?
I would say I would identify myself. I'm a really good driver of the golf ball. I don't hit it really far, but I tend to hit it straight. And when I putt good, I feel like I putt good. I mean, anybody. I'm a streaky putter. I either putt really good or not so good.
What held up during this tournament this weekend? What was really your strong point in this weekend? What part of your game? What area?
I would say I hit a lot of fairways. I think I missed 5 fairways for the tournament, and then hit a lot of greens. Gave myself a lot of opportunities.
What was the difficult part? What areas did you really struggle with? I mean, obviously you won the tournament, but was there areas that you struggled with a little bit this weekend?
I would say my putting wasn't spot on, but I made some really good par putts and things the last day, and just kept myself. I made those putts that keep your round going, which was good. But I missed a lot of short birdie opportunities. But I would have said a year ago to let that get to me during the tournament, and I didn't this week. I just took it one hole at a time and played the best I could, and just saw what happened. Yeah,
and again, congratulations on that. So this win is obviously going to give you some momentum moving forward. What are you looking forward to the rest of the season? What's your game plan for the rest of 2016?
I would say my game plan for the rest of the year is to continue the no expectation mindset and just go out there and play each shot to the best of my abilities and give it my 100% effort and see what it brings me. Because it's a long year still, and it really hurt me if I look ahead. So I just need to stay in the present and take one day at a time, one hole at a time, one shot at a time.
Well, that's
sounds like a good plan to me. That's a great plan.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what Cindy was talking about. Is just sort of play in the now and not not worry about the future because things can change. So, Erica, congratulations on your first win in the Symetra Tour. Great. Looks like you had some great rounds put together there. And Cindy and I want to wish you all the success for not just 2016 but beyond. Good luck with it, and we would love to have you come back on the show for a future show as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for letting me come on the show. I really enjoyed it.
All right, we appreciate it.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Erica. All right, bye-bye.
Thanks.
Cindy, what we were sort of talking about this first part of the show really epitomizes, I think, and as I alluded to and you talked about, I really think a lot of these youngsters that are coming up now, whether it's on the LPGA or even the PGA Tour, they're just kind of building themselves up to such a point that the pressure has just got to be. I mean, I don't ever remember, and again, I know it was a different mindset and different time, but I don't ever remember the same sort of approach to golf in the years of say, a Nancy Lopez or a Jack Nicklaus or an Arnold Palmer. They just didn't seem to have that same drive as they do now. Is it just part of the conditioning? Is it just part of society? What do you think?
I don't believe that. I think they had the same drive.
Well, I think I think as far as, obviously they were there to win and they wanted to, but I wonder sometimes though, with some of these, Erica sort of put it bluntly, that she had this very high expectation of herself, and I don't know whether or not they did. Maybe they did, and it's just you didn't hear about it as much.
I guess I think they're being pushed harder.
Right.
I think they're being pushed harder because, and she doesn't seem like, I'm sure she's got great parents, but I think they're being pushed harder to be superstars.
Yes.
And I think that's the wrong reason to play, and I think she found that out. So it's the pressure. I mean, when you come home and you don't have any money and everybody goes, what's wrong? Why can't you play better? What's wrong with you? And every time, every week your scores are in the paper. And, you're totally exposed to the world for how bad you're failing. And it's really hard to deal with that because you start to doubt yourself, and that's kind of what happened. And that's what she found is, she's not what she shoots. So it's really a big deal for her to learn that lesson, and that's why there's so many – golf is bigger now. There's so many kids. There's people going to these schools that are $50,000, $60,000 a year. People ship their kids off when they're 13 years old, and they go to, IMG Academy, Core Academy. There's academies everywhere. And what they're doing is they're selling a dream of being a superstar. Well, how many superstars are there? 2 or 3?
Right.
But everybody is seeking that. And I just don't – it's great to work at it, but, there's only a couple superstars.
Yeah,
so.
and the other thing too that I've noticed here is, and obviously they all have some great golf games. They wouldn't get to this level if they didn't. But I've noticed too that even in the branding of themselves, now it's all about branding. It's yourself. Even if you're winning every week, get yourself out there, and it's becoming a sort of. And again, this is, I think, being sort of pushed along, and unfortunately, I think, and Erica is a good example of it, where, if you get pushed, and we don't know, obviously, the circumstance there. She may have done a lot of it as sort of self-pushing, but, when you get pushed along too much, too quickly, that you're almost setting yourself up for a little bit of failure, because it's not going to happen. You know this, when you come out on tour, you're doing wow, and you've got all this vim and vigor, and you get out there, and the first few rounds you play, you just think, wow, what happened here? And it can be a setback. It can be very hard on the psyche. And you've got to, like you said, you can't define yourself by what you shoot. You have to define yourself as a person first. And, if the scores are there that week and you happen to win or you get in the top 10, then fantastic. But don't define yourself by what you shoot.
Absolutely.
Right. Well said. Words to live by, Cindy Miller. All right, we got our next guest, Susan Bond, is with us here. Let me just give a quick read-through on some of the things here. She's also a golf professional as well. She was a former head professional at and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, Weekapaug Golf Club in Westerly, Rhode Island. She was there until December of 2014. Prior to that, she was a teacher professional at Johns Island Golf Club in Vero Beach, Florida. And then she was also an assistant golf professional at the Wellesley Country Club in Wellesley, I believe that's Massachusetts. And she was also, or is also, the New England PGA Vice President. She was also, prior to that, the New England PGA Secretary, and also held some other positions in Rhode Island up until 2010. Some of her playing accomplishments: she was the Women's Massachusetts Open champion, a two-time Cape Cod Women's Open champion, and a three-time New England Women's Open champion, and the Connecticut Women's Open runner-up, numerous awards. And now she's doing some great work with a clothing line called Straight Down. We'll talk a little bit about that. And she's also involved with PGA Magazine's Women platform. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So let's welcome our very special guest, the second half, Susan Bond.
Good morning, Susan.
Hi, Cindy. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. We're so glad you're here.
Oh, I know. This is great. Thank you again.
Susan, this is Ted. Let me again also welcome you to the show. We appreciate you taking of your time this morning. Let's start. Obviously, we love to talk about golf. That's why we've got this program here. Are you still doing a lot of teaching now and or playing?
I'm trying to do a little bit of both. I'm doing more teaching currently, even though I'm in Vermont right now, and we're in a cold snap. We woke up yesterday morning to a few inches of snow, which is kind of depressing. But I'm splitting my teaching time between Stowe Country Club and the Dorset Field Club in Dorset. And I'm going to try to play in the Connecticut Women's Open at the end of May. And kind of right now, I'm a caddy, too. I'm caddying for Ron Philo in the Senior PGA Championship next week out in Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of exciting. Keep
very
up,
cool.
Up, and don't lose the head cover.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a great time, and he's lucky to have you on the bag. Susan, let me just ask you the first question here. You had mentioned in some of your information you sent to Cindy that you're involved with Straight Down, which is a clothing line apparel company. Tell us a little bit about that relationship and how you became involved in that, and obviously a little bit about some of the products that we can find at their location.
Certainly. Straight Down is a family-owned company based in San Luis Obispo. Wonderful company. In the fall of 2014, I was let go by my club, and Evan Belcher, who is a PGA professional who was in the New England section, heard that, and he was working with the Straight Down company, and he said, hey, do you want to come to the other side of the counter? You have a pretty large network of people, and we'd love to have you come on board. And I was like, you guys, as golf professionals, we sell ourselves to get, people to become members and for people for instruction, but I've never actually sold apparel, to other people. I've sold it to my members. So it was exciting and challenging, and the company is wonderful. It's branching out to the Northeast and the East Coast of the United States. It's golf, it's lifestyle, it's just a wonderful product, and I can't say enough about the people Mike Rowley, who owns the company, is wonderful, as Robert Ogden, my national manager, and Evan. They're just great people that have embraced taking me on and know that I have a lot of hiccups. I've been a golf professional for a long time. So you build into that role. So I'm learning every day with this sales representative part of my career, and it's very exciting.
Do you like
Very good.
It's different. I don't like no. When people say, no, I'm all set, I'm like, come on, we have no minimums, just try the product. And, I never liked that pushy sales rep myself, so I try to be the sales rep that I always liked having coming into my pro shop. So, I'm like, okay, you've seen the product, I'm not going to beat you up. Hopefully, let me give you a piece to try, and that usually they realize I'm a soft sell rep, which might hurt my pocketbook, but I want to nurture that relationship, and hopefully from there it'll lead to sales in the future.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, the days of sort of the hard pressure sales tactics, I think are over. I think a lot of people, first off, consumers are very savvy these days in their purchases. They really look through. I mean, a lot of times before the sales rep walks through the door, they're very familiar with a lot of different products out there, especially competitor products. Let me ask you this, because you're walking into obviously pro shops and things, and you're trying to get their business. In this economy, it's very, very difficult. So again, people are very savvy in what they want to purchase. What sort of sets apart some of the line that you're coming in with from what you've seen out in the market? What makes sort of straight down a little bit different than some of the other products you've seen?
Well, the quality, again, it can go from the golf course to after dinner to exercising. It's just a very transitional piece of clothing for men or for women. It's just, fashion forward. I just, again, have only been with the company for a year, and the space, there's a fabric called, it's the space dyed pattern that is, when they first came out with it, they were laughed at, like, oh my gosh, what are you guys presenting? And now almost every company has this type of garment in their line. So they're, again, they're in California, then they're branching their way across the United States. And I think it's the relationships we build, too. They really know their customer. When you call the company, you actually get a person. You don't get dial 2 for English and dial 3 for a person. You get a person when they answer the phone. And we also have a unique, our brand is kind of this Airstream that we have come to clubs member guests. And the very cool thing about it is we ship in lots of products based on the number of and they pick out their garment, and while they're out playing, we embroider it on site. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's the wow factor. See, you did it without me even saying it. It is. It's the wow factor. It's very cool.
What kind of machine do they use?
Oh, they have two embroidery machines, one embroiderer, and we have the logos printed out, and we ask the participants to choose their garment. They could pick out outerwear. They could pick out polos. They're not locked into, here's your navy blue wind shirt. They can pick the garment of their choice. They can pick the color of the logo and then the placement. They go out to play golf, and it's in their locker when they're done. It's very cool. And the Airstream sets up with 2 TVs. They could put a bar in it if they like. They can hang out and watch us do it, and we do everything. The golf professional's only job is to tell us where to park the Airstream. We do everything else. So so then they can just be with their members and their guests. So it's very cool.
What's your territory?
I have Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and the Met section. So I'm all over that area. I have it booked this season for Kirkbrae Country Club in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and also at Woods Hole down on the Cape. And then it travels. There's 2 of them. There's one that stays on the west coast of the country and one that stays on, from the middle of the country to the east coast. And it's booked every week now through middle of October, which is kind of cool. So it's, again, brand awareness, too. So we're very excited about how the product is evolving.
Now, do you have to buy, like, because I sort of was surfing around on the website, can you buy through the website as well?
Yes, and some of those styles are, you're basically getting lucky with sizes. There are current sizes and colors and so forth, but the sales reps, we are currently showing summer, fall, and then we have our sales meeting at the middle of July, and we'll be shipping or showing holiday spring around like the 1st of September and so forth.
Wow.
So, yeah, it is. It's very fun. And again, the traveling is, again, I'm in Vermont, so I'm not exactly in a central location, but I don't mind the travel. And, again, it's all about building relationships, which helps tie into my other with working for PGA Magazine.
Yeah, and that's was going to be our next question was to tell us about that. You're obviously involved with PGA Magazine and particularly the Women Leaders platform. Tell us a little bit about that and how that sort of come about.
Well, Rick Summers, the CEO, president of the magazine, is just a forward thinker. He is all about promoting the PGA professional as being the rock star in the industry. And we just, got together and said, what do you think about creating a whole network of just the female PGA member, to get together to share ideas, thoughts, concerns, and help one another? And we're like, yeah, well, there's less than 1,000 PGA female professionals. So we had our first meeting at the PGA show this past January, and we started out with 63 women in attendance, and currently, as of yesterday, I have 119 women now involved. And it's basically not just women. There are a few male PGA professionals. It's basically the women that have been leaders, been on boards, been in committees, or award winners, and so forth, or played the game. And it's trying to nurture. I'm good friends with, and Cindy, I think you know Cammie Maxfield. We joke that we're on the back nine of our lives. We're trying to nurture the kids on the front nine, and to inspire them. Because I was very fortunate in my career. I had a male professional and one of my family that encouraged to go out there and be with the guys and do this. And there's still, it's sad to say, some male professionals that if they hire a woman, they're stuck in with just the juniors and folding sweaters. And there's nothing wrong with working with juniors by any means, but they should be embraced as much as a male professional.
Yeah,
so this is a great way for us to all unite.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartly. Personal branding, I mentioned it earlier in the program. We were talking with our first guest. In your opinion, is personal branding important today for the professional, and if so, why?
Oh, definitely. It's all about, just look at the people in social media, how they promote themselves and how they gather business. It's all about relationships. I always, when I see these younger professionals, in their careers, I'm like, you can never make a first impression. Your first impression is so enormous and how you come about, and you never know who's watching, so you always need to be on your A game, if you will, and I think that that's very important. I think the younger breed can learn a lot from being mentored by that established professional, and we can also learn from them. I'm probably a 20 handicap on PowerPoints and things like that, where, these kids can pop those out like you can't, the day is long. So we can all learn from each other, and I think this Women Leaders platform is a great way for us to share those ideas and help one another.
Yeah, and Cindy's a great one for that. Cindy, you're not just on social media now, but you've gotten to a point where you've used it very, very effectively to promote Cindy Miller Golf. I see, and as I'm sure you do, Susan, as well, see a lot of her posts throughout social media and a lot of her different things that she's using. Cindy, you obviously understand the importance of that, correct?
Well, here's the catch. It's funny because we had a webinar yesterday for the LPGA Northeast section on your personal brand. And it depends on what your goals are. And Cammie Maxwell, who we were talking about, was on the call. Now, Cammie's the director of golf at a private country club in Connecticut that doesn't have, how many members do you think she has there, Susan?
Oh, my gosh. I want to say like 300 at the most. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not even sure if it's that high, but she's
I don't think
star.
It is. Yeah, and she is a rock star. So, but her membership is not really on social media because they're very affluent. They're members at multiple clubs. So the importance of her being on social media is not as important as someone who's the Lone Ranger, which would be me. So I'm self-employed. I don't get a salary from anybody. I start every year at zero. If I don't give a lesson, I don't make any money. So I have to promote me, whereas Cammie doesn't really have to. So it's almost like, are you an introvert or an extrovert, and what's your purpose behind this? So, but I totally agree with you. The kids know, I'm like, hey, can you edit a video for me? Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm like, oh, thank God, right?
Yeah, exactly. I usually call my daughters. I'm like, why won't my phone turn on? They're like, Mama, and I'm like, well, that's just. But again, calligraphy pens. I hate it when I find my calligraphy pens that all the points are gone because kids are holding them like a hammer. So I mean, it's like, the little bit of everything. And Cindy's awesome. I mean, your social media is great, and it's quick and to the point for those people that. You see it and you hit it and you're like, wow, that's awesome, and things like that. And a lot of people can learn from that, So kudos to you on all that you've done.
Everybody gets to be good at something.
Yeah,
right?
And well, you're good at a lot of things, Cindy. I give you credit for that, and I've mentioned that many times on the show.
I want to be a member of the PGA. I got to join the PGA of America.
We'd embrace you. We'd love to have you.
I just don't want to take the test. I'm trying to avoid that. I don't feel like studying.
We'll wear an earpiece, and you can just ask us questions.
There you go.
That's a great idea.
There you go. Okay, Susan, let me ask you, and then Cindy, I want you to also some comments as well. But Susan, how can you help those? There's obviously, speaking of social media, there's a lot that maybe aren't as social media savvy, if you will. How can you help those sort of not up to speed, if you will? What are some things that you can do to help some of the your fellow members in the PGA and so forth that are trying to sort of brand themselves, but they just don't know where to start? Can you is there things that you can do to help them?
Well, I think, going back to PGA Magazine, we're always looking for best practices that we share through emails every week, and those best practices encompass everything from tournaments and outings to women in golf to travel with your members. Best practices are great, and that's, through the PGA Magazine's website, they have a link where you can, when you put in your PGA name, username, and password, you can find thousands of ways to help you at your facility. For those, for other people, is to reach out and ask. I think people are afraid to ask one another for assistance, and you shouldn't be. I mean, most people will it's more time. Like if you call it a bad time of day, just ask, is this a bad time? Can I call you back later? But most people are proud to share their ideas from their club, and, then going and taking it and making it your own, maybe tweaking something, adding to it, is always a great way. And it's fun to say, oh, yeah, I used that, or, this was somebody else's idea and I tweaked it a little and now it's here, So it's, again, that whole sharing and networking. This is a great game. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I've done this for so long that it just flows. It's just something. And I'm a people person, so I love to share and, help people with their careers.
You are truly a gift to the business, I must tell you.
Cindy, one of the things, Cindy, that I was going to ask is, I've noticed when you look, especially in golf, when you see a lot of the sort of new ideas coming out, it seems to be coming from the women's market as opposed to the men's market. I mean, truthfully, if you look at a lot of the women that are out there in the golf profession, whether they're players or whether they're teaching professionals, they're coming out with some very innovative and great ways to help grow this game and really energize and get women involved, particularly, and juniors as well. Are you seeing that a lot as well, Cindy and Susan?
Yes, I do. I think it's a lot. We're communicators. I know that I like to throw parties, meaning that I'll take members to go play at destinations, and then they're going to go back, and the destination's it's a win-win. We do something to help our members have more fun with the game and, experience different types of golf courses, and then the resort getting people at their resorts. So it's a win-win situation in terms of that. And I just think, with kids, I have 2 older children now. Being around kids is fun. And to see their faces when they just, experience golf, and no matter what level they take it to, Cindy's great at getting people out there to learn this game and to grow it. That makes the day worthwhile to me.
Yeah, and Cindy, your boot camps, you do a great job with these boot camps, and just getting them energized. And we had a few of Cindy's students, if you will, on the show, I guess a couple of months ago. And you can, hear it in their voices. They enjoy it, enjoy working with Cindy and a lot of the things that she does. And Cindy, that's a testament to your abilities.
Well, I think what it is that we have to realize, like Susan said and Cammie and Hurt discussed, we're on the back nine. So what do we, I'm not going to go play with Michelle Wee. Get over it. You can't do it anymore. So, what can I do? Well, can I use my experiences and maybe some of my failures, and can I help someone else maybe not make as many mistakes, and or uplift them, or help them realize that you don't have to be Lydia Ko or Jordan Spieth. You can enjoy this game and play it for a lifetime, and it can give you a lot of benefits. And I think that once we realize that, we learn to give back, and when you give back, we get enjoyment out of that in return. Don't you agree, Susan?
Oh, exactly, and that's so funny. When I was running for office, I had poker chips, and they said it's not what you get, it's what you give on them. And people sometimes they're like, you're here, there, and everywhere. I go, yeah, but I have the time, and I can do that. And golf has given me so much in my career, from when I was a junior through college and all that. I'm happy to spread the word and have them drink the Kool-Aid and get all into this game. Because, like you said, I still in my head, I'm still competitive, and I think I can still play, but then I go out with these kids, and, if I start wanting to help them, but I'm like, wait a second, I'm trying to compete for that same paycheck they are, but it's like I start in my head going, gosh, if they just knew how to hit this shot, or if, what was she thinking there? I try, I'm like, okay, stop it. You're not on the clock. You're not doing this. But then after the round, if I feel comfortable, if I feel that I just kind of say, you're great in this, but have you ever thought of this? And again, that's part of the communication, to soft sell it, to say, hey, I never even thought about that. And, growing back, getting to share my experience of what I've learned through my career.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well said. Ladies, one of the things that I think, as we talked about Cindy a little earlier when Erica was on, is, that sort of exchange and learning as you go. And a lot of these youngsters coming out, as we mentioned, have very high expectations. They're coming fresh out of college, maybe very successful collegiate career, and they're expecting to get those wins right away. And when it doesn't happen, it's very it becomes very detrimental to their psyche. And this is where that experience comes in. And, as you said, Susan, it's something over time. You get out there and you still want to be competitive, but you also understand from the realistic standpoint that you're not going to be as competitive in certain areas as you once were. So you're now shifting gears, if you will, in another area where you can be more competitive. Would that be pretty accurate?
Spot on. Wow. Yeah. Are you reading my mind?
No.
But no, that's, it is. It's true. It's like if I can't play to the level of what I used to, I would love to share any kind of information that I have that could possibly make that next player just see something. It could just be one little thought process that might shoot them to their next level. Even with members, just sharing an experience of, they get up. I mean, I don't know how many people you teach, Cindy, that they have a bad first hole and they go, oh, this is going to be a great day, and then I'll say, I've come off the practice facility, gone to the first tee, made an 8 on the first hole and shot under par, and they're like, really? You've done that? And I'm like, yeah. So don't give up after that first hole. So, it's just sharing what we've experienced.
Absolutely.
And that's very common, with a lot of players, especially the higher handicap players. They come out and start off with a couple of bad holes, and right away they've thrown their round into the garbage can and figure, well, I might as well go home.
Right.
And we saw that with Ernie Els here not too long ago. At the Masters. Came out and ended up shooting. Well, at first they thought it was a 10, but it ended up, I think it was a 9. Imagine if Ernie turned around and got in his car and said, I'm going home, I'm not playing the Masters. Now, he didn't win, but,
right.
He regrouped and he put that hole behind him. And I'm sure it bothered him a little bit, but he said, I've got, the whole tournament in front of me. So I can either suck it up and move on, or I can sit here and wiggle my toes in the bunker over here and cry about it. And he chose to do the first, not the latter. So, it goes to your point. So what's next for Susan Bond?
Well, again, the caddy position next week at the senior PGA is going to be fun. It's going to be very exciting. Ron's a great player. He got in because he won the PNC, the Club Pro Championship 10 years ago at Turning Stone. So you get to play your first year when you turn 50. So we're going out there to do that. And his family, his sister's Laura Diaz, who's on tour. So it's a great family, and that's the closest thing right now to me playing. So I'm living vicariously through that, and it's going to be a wonderful experience. And then working in greater detail with PGA Magazine and the Women Leaders platform that we're very excited about.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Susan, we want to thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf show on behalf of Cindy Miller and I, and we appreciate all of the hard work, and good luck next week at the PGA Senior Champion.
It'll be, if I lose a head cover, I won't go back. I'll find it later. That's just, but no, it'll be a great thing, and I thank you and Ted and Cindy for your time. And Cindy, I hope our paths cross soon in person.
Me too, honey. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
You
All right.
too.
Thanks, Susan.
Take care. Bye.
Very interesting. Very certainly very enthusiastic individual, and I like that. A lot of energy. And Cindy, as I said many times, you do a lot of great things out there to help grow this game, and obviously you enjoy it, and you work very hard at it, and that certainly shows in all the efforts that you do. But just keep doing all the great things that you're doing as well. And with that note, we've got to wrap it up. And on behalf of Cindy Miller and I, we want to thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf. We always enjoy this time every Tuesday morning. We hope you'll come back and join us next Tuesday from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the blogtalkradio.com network. Cindy, have a great week, and I look forward to next week.
Thanks, Ted. Have a great one.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.